Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the 64th Aldine ISD Livestock Show. We're having our steer show this afternoon. Please forgive us for our tardiness. We hope that we have enough credits to pass the class. No, I'm on the air. People asking me, can they say something? Anyway, we hope that you're here. We're sorry for our tardiness. We don't know if we're going to get caught up in the hall sweep or if we need to pass the class, but we're here. All right. So we are selling 5 steers today. 5 steers will make the sale, and we're going to go. We have 2 classes. And then we're going to have showmanship. And then we have our heifer class. I think we may have our heifer class before we do showmanship, because those students that have heifers, they can also come back for showmanship. So we'll get started here in a few minutes. Sit tight. Thank you for being with us today at the 64th Aldine ISD Livestock Show. In this class, we have steers. We have 5 steers in this class, and their weights range from 1,127 pounds and 1,260 pounds. Our judge today, Mr. Kevin Parker, has been teaching for 19 years. He is a second generation ag science teacher and FFA advisor. He comes from a long lineage of teachers. He is originally from the Richmond, Texas area. In addition to being a livestock judge, he is also judged for Blinn Junior College and for Sam Houston State University. He resides in Kenny, Texas with his 3 children, Cash, Keaton, and Cooper, all spelled with the K, whom the eldest 2 are getting ready to exhibit their steers at the Fort Worth Stock Show. His wife is also an ag science teacher, and they both work together for Lamar Consolidated School District. Welcome our judge, Mr. Kevin Parker. Teams. He resides in Kenny, Texas with his 3 children, Cash, Keaton, and Cooper, all spelled with the K, whom the eldest 2 are getting ready to exhibit steers for Fort Worth Stock Show. His wife, Kristen, is also a science teacher, and they teach at Lamar Consolidated School District. Let's give our steer judge, Mr. Kevin Parker, a round of applause. So we have our beef cattle show. All of our livestock animals are broken into two classes or two purposes. Either livestock are used for breeding or they're used for market. Okay. So here our animals are market animals. We have steers, and steers are male cattle that have been surgically taken care of. For all the people that are listening, they are no longer used for breeding. So that's something we want to definitely be aware of. Just to give you a little terminology here, and hopefully you guys are going to use it the next time you're having a conversation about livestock. Cattle are cattle. They are not all cows. Females that have had a baby, they're called cows. Females that have not had a baby are called heifers. We're going to have a heifer show later. These cattle in here are called steers. We've taken care of a few things of them. They don't have it anymore. And then we have our bulls. When they're born, they're bull calves. And then we remove the testicles and they become steers. So that's just a little lingo. They're not all cows. They could get a little offended if you called them a cow and they're a steer. So just something to think about. So these students have been working with these steers for 10 months. They've put in all the work. They're feeding. They are training. They are getting the job done. The the show stick is used to calm the steer. The stick they have in their hand, the show stick is used to calm the steer and to place the feet. When the judge is observing the cattle, he's looking at different things, the foot placement, all of that, how the steer walks, how the different cuts of meat move on the animal. We think they're beautiful and attractive, but he's actually looking at the cattle and envisioning cuts of meat. So that's something unique about being able to judge livestock, is to look at the external beauty of the animal, but to also internalize what's inside of the animal from a carcass perspective. Okay. He's going to give them a look-see, and then he's going to place this class. This is our lighter weight class. We only have 2 classes today. So we'll just keep watching and see what he decides to do. Stay with us. Coming back to you real quick while our steer judge, Mr. Kevin Parker, is evaluating the rear of the animals, the sides. He's going to get a profile of everything. He's paying attention to the tail head. He's paying attention to a lot of details. Um, if you see that hump on the steer, that is Brahman influence. All of the cattle in America have some type of Brahman influence. Brahman is a breed of cattle that is one of the first breed of cattle in the world. So we use them. Have great heat tolerance. They are very good at repelling mosquitoes, and of course, they have great carcass quality. So we love to incorporate them when it comes to our genetics. Texas is the #1 in the U.S. for cattle raising. You know, everything's better in Texas. So our youth today are just following a long line of history in this great state of Texas. We're excited. We're excited. Beef is the largest selling grocery item. Ground beef is pretty universal. And everybody loves a good ribeye, right? Good porterhouse. There's some new cuts of meat out there. And what about the new thing, which is it's not really new, but I think more people are ordering when you get a steak, people like medium plus. Like medium plus. I like it right there in the middle. Depends on the cut of the steak. So hopefully you're watching and this has made you go and want to go out tonight and get you a nice steak with the baked potato, salad, maybe some bread. Cattle are a part of the ruminant digestive system. They have a 4-compartment stomach. The first compartment allows baby cattle or calves to drink milk and process milk. And then as they get older, the other 4 compartments come alive and they function. If you ever see a ruminant animal such as cattle, goats, sheep, giraffes, alpacas, llamas, deer, there are a lot of animals that have ruminant systems, and you see them moving their mouth, they're actually ruminating. So they eat, the food goes down to the first compartment, the rumen. Then they go through a bacteria breakdown. They go through a rumination process, and then they send it back up. And then it goes back down, and it goes throughout the other compartments and has a digestive process. So that's why we call them ruminants, because of the rumen and the other compartments in their unique digestive system. Here we go.
Opportunity to be out here and go through the first class of your steers this afternoon. I want to say first of all, thank you. It's a privilege to be asked to come out and have the opportunity to look at other people's cattle, work with other people's kids. I hope that when you see me out here today, that you'll notice that I've talked to them and tried to give them some constructive criticism in terms of where to put their feet, how to get those cattle set up. We know that this isn't a showmanship show, but we want to take every opportunity as advisors and ag teachers to try to teach our students at every moment that we can. I think that's the best thing about being an ag teacher, is being able to take these opportunities and utilize them so that kids can enhance and be further productive as they move down the road. Not only because it's a stock show, but because they may be attending something else down the road. Um, I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but for me, this is something that is part of my life. It's what got me where I am today. It's an opportunity that enabled me to be the person that I am and be able to do the things that I'm able to do. And I hope that this tradition that you guys have here in Aldine ISD has some richness to it, which extends to these kids and helps them understand that what we're doing here is not just about the show, but it's about the longevity and the leadership development that they're getting from these things. So before I say anything else, I want to give a round of applause to the ag teachers and advisors who have been here today that have helped these kids get to this point. And then to the students that are out here today, as an ag teacher myself, and for someone who deals with cattle all the time and multi-species, I really want to give these kids that are out here and the ones that are outside of the arena a round of applause, because it takes a lot to be able to do what these kids have done here today. Without family, parents, and support, none of this will be possible, because financially, this is a very difficult time for us to do these things. And if you've ever been to a feed store in the last couple of days, the feed's continually going up. So we want to congratulate those kids for that. We'll move on and we'll start talking about these cattle. And again, I haven't placed them in any particular order yet, but this is kind of the jump to where we want to get off to. We'll talk about our steers as we work, and then we'll place them here real quick. This young man that's down here on the bottom end of the steer class today, he's got an excellent steer. There's a lot of areas where you can critique this calf, and there's a lot of areas where you can actually praise this steer. I think that steer is probably one of the more extended fronted calves in the group. I think he's more refined about his head and neck, and he's got some more angulation to his shoulders. I think he's got a lot of right parts in terms of center body and rib shape. And when we're talking about those things, when you go to the grocery store and you're purchasing meat, these are things that help make that quality beef project that we're looking for. So he's got those great qualities there. All of these cattle have very massive, extensive tops. I think for me, though, the way I placed him in that position, I felt that he had a structural issue down in the lower portion of his hock, maybe in the center position of his knee there. He just doesn't flex and have that flexibility that I'm looking for in a steer. But again, a great calf. I don't want to knock him anywhere else, but the way I was raised, the way my father taught me, is we've got to be able to get these cattle to the feed pan and back to the water, and we want those animals to be structurally correct. And I think if we're going to critique that calf in any way, I think it's more of a structural issue for me why I have him in that position. We move up to the young man that's in fourth place right there. And you, to be honest, if this calf had about maybe 60 to 70 more days of just a good hard feeding, this calf may be on the opposite end of the arena. He's probably one of the ones that has the correct build. He's complete in terms of his design. If you read that steer, he's very level and balanced from the ground up. He's definitely got the right center body to him. I just think he's just given up for me. He needs a little bit more feel to him. He needs more condition in order to be able to be the calf on the other side of the arena. But I think he's got the right lines. He lacks that in terms of condition. And if we talk about a steak, we want that steak to be tender and juicy, and we can get some of that out of that steer, but it's going to cost us a little bit more to get him to that point. But he definitely balances out well. And again, all these cattle are great in terms of their head and neck. Their conformation is on point. I think it was just a feed issue where if we could just push that calf a little stronger, I think he'd be in a better position. And then we move into this third place steer that we placed right here. Young man does a great job. I really like this calf. I think if there's one area that I could position him in, I said I'd like to maybe make him just a little smaller. I think as we grow as a nation and as a country, we're running out of room for cattle. We're running out of room for places for livestock to actually be and grow because of the concrete and the development that we have. And in my part of the world, when we look at cattle like this, we say we don't really eat the legs. We don't eat any of that portion of the body. So we don't necessarily need a calf that's taller and structurally bolder in that position. We need a calf that's just got the right lines, and he's got the right lines. He just gets a little tall for me today, but you've done a great job on him. We can tell that you've done a great job feeding him. Skin's conditioned well. Excellent steer in that third position. And then things get a little complicated, and this is where I like to, get the crowd going, because unlike sports, we have some fun in this area too. And there's a difference. One of these calves is going to be your champion in this lightweight class, and it's kind of a hard decision because both of these calves are really, really good. You can tell that these young men have put in some time and some hard work with them, and they have to get these calves to be this docile and this gentle. Two of the calves that are probably the most complete, the most finished, and have the most definition and design to them. There's some differences in both of them, but for me, it's more of a color preference. And me, when I'm looking at cattle, I like a darker steer because darker cattle typically look more bolder, more fresher out there in the arena. But then you've got this calf here, and it's kind of hard to deny him of that, saying that, I got to choose a color preference. Both of those calves have massive amounts of muscle. They've got a great set to their shoulder. I think one calf is more extended than the other one, and they've definitely got some expression over their top with plenty of power. But I think when you compare the two, it's going to be one of those things where it's what's going to be my personal preference for the day. Both of them definitely have enough condition. As you move down to that 12th rib, you can definitely handle those calves and tell that they are set and they're finished, and they've had some great advice on how they got those calves fed. I think for me, when they tie out of their hip, I think this calf's just a little cleaner. as far as how he levels out and how he balances. And this one for me, from hooks to pins, just wants to get a little bit more pussy and bubbly in that position, and it kind of throws him off in that light. But definitely a great steer in that position. At this time, I'll go out and I'll select your champion lightweight steer, and then we'll move forward from there. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so we are done with class one. In first place, we have Brashawn Oliphant. In second place, we
Timothy Greer, Jaden Harris, Aaron Hernandez, and Abigail Flores.
all right. Second place, we had Robert Allen. Third place, we had Derek Liel. Fourth place, we had Kayvon Horn. And in fifth place, we had Ricky Evans. So, more facts about cattle. Cattle are used for so many byproducts and value added products that we use to enhance our everyday life, such as soap, fertilizer. Of course, we get leather. We use their fat for candles. We use the hooves for china, crayons, so much more. We use the blood meal to put back into feed. We use a lot of things from cattle and all of our livestock. They provide more than muscle for protein for us to consume. So they're pretty important. I always tell people agriculture is the first science. It is the truest science. If there was no agriculture, we would not have Gregor Mendel. We need agriculture to see things quickly, things that we want to discover about humans. We use agriculture to do that. So, very grateful for agriculture and its contributions to our everyday life. Cattle can smell something 6 miles away. So, like when the weather changes, they can smell that. They can smell a storm coming. So you can pay attention to your cattle and see how they're moving out in your pasture and see something's on the horizon. They're so unique. They have a tongue that has little prickly things all over it, and they grab food with their tongue. So they use their tongue first. They have only a bottom row of teeth. So when they pull things in with their tongue, they then put it in their mouth and they grind and they use their bottom row. So let's learn more about cattle and let's continue to watch this class 2 cattle show. The cattle in this particular class range in weight from 1,348 pounds to 1,377 pounds. I hope you guys are enjoying the cattle show at the 64th Aldine ISD FFA Livestock Show. coming back to you. We're here with our second class. Our judge, Mr. Kevin Parker, is taking his time and being very meticulous about this class. It is harder to judge classes when the weights are heavier. There's technically and metaphorically just more to judge, so it's going to take us a little bit longer. Now, with that being said, I really appreciate that this judge is taking the time. If the kid is having some trouble setting it up, he's being very patient. He's giving some tidbits about like, I need you to hold it up higher. I need you to do X, Y, Z. So he is really being detailed about this.
guess I don't apologize. I like to take my time when I'm doing this because I don't think that people really truly understand the ability that it takes and the time that it takes for these kids to come out here and be able to do this. Uh, where I come from, and I'm sure where these kids come from as well, it takes a lot of time to get calves that look like this, and I want to be able to give them as much ring time as humanly possible uh, to try to exhibit their animal and show them to their best ability. And I'm going to try to break this one down as much as I can because I know there may be a little bit confusion in terms of how I place them. But I think when I finish talking my reasons with them, I think you'll clearly understand what's going on here and what's happening right now. We'll go ahead and start down here with the young lady that's in the sixth position. She's got a great steer. I just think the opportunity for him to get shown today was just not there. I think she just needed to take her time a little bit more, relax with him. He's got some good quality parts to him. He's definitely got a nice big top across that blade and that shoulder. He's really got some expression of muscle. I just need that calf to get a good look today, and I wasn't able to get that because we kept getting in those positions, and we just want to get him straightened out. We move up to the next position. That would be in your fifth position, a calf that's really good from a side profile, really extended fronted. I think for me, he just wants to pinch a little bit down in the lower portion of his round. Doesn't have as much muscle expression as you look at him from behind, but I think a calf that carries a true position of a great steer from a side profile. And then things get a little twisted up in my top four. I think there are two calves that are very unique and comparable in type and kind. I think there's one steer that has a little bit more bone. I think one steer, they both have pretty much about the same amount of muscle. But as you handle these calves, as you get a feel for them over the top of that loin, over the top of that ribeye, this calf right here just exhibited a more freshness to him in terms of his top, a more freshness all the way down through the center portion of that junction and that ribeye area, and he just ties well for me. Granted, these two young men right here have done a spectacularly honest, good job showing these calves. It's kind of a showmanship battle even in the class right now. This young man's exhibited this calf well. I just think he gives up that amount of freshness that we look for in steers. I wish I knew how you guys are getting these calves so fresh and so finished because they definitely have enough condition to them to be potential steers to go to Houston. I don't think there's a calf in here that couldn't have a shot at Houston. I think these two calves are definitely unique. But in terms of these two placing them, I think this calf just had more of an appearance or more handle, a more fresh appearance when you put your hands over the top side of him. More explosive in terms of his muscle, more bone from the ground up. So that's why he's in that third position. And then up here at the top two, it kind of gets a little complicated. I'm going to see if I can get these two to bring these two calves around and just kind of get them centered up here. That way we can give them that spotlight that they need and kind of get you guys a pull back. I want to see these calves move around and walk. If you'll pull them this way, there you go. These two calves are really, really, really unique. You've got the young man's calf that's right here. He's got lots of power, lots of muscle. He's definitely clean fronted. He's definitely one of those steers that is attractive to the eye. And when you see him, you really just love the way he's put together. I think an issue for me in terms of where he is that when you start talking about this steer and you want to critique this calf, there's one issue that I have with him, and it's that once you get into he's a long enough sided steer, but when you look at him from his flank, he wants to get a little tighter. It's almost like I needed him to get just a little deeper in his flank, especially in that rear flank, and have some more fullness to him. I think he's got a lot of the right parts. I still hadn't made my decision yet on which calf I'm going to choose as your champion heavyweight, but he's a calf for me. That's the area that I pick on. That's the area that I nitpick on, is I wish he was just a little deeper in his flank. The young lady's calf right here, if we're going to critique them, and my dad always said, if you're going to critique steers, you need to critique them all. We do have some structure issues in this class, and if you got structure issues in all of them, you may as well not even say anything, but I want to mention he's a little shorter and tighter in his stride from the rear, but when we're talking about a quality show steer that's level out of his hip, he balances well, he's big over the top of his shoulders, from his front end, from his skeleton up, he's definitely one of the water-based steers, and he's got that moderate look to him. No, he doesn't have that beautiful profile that your steer does. But when you look at this calf from the side, if I was going to load one up and go to San Antonio tomorrow, that would be the steer that I take with me just because of the way he's put together. He's got that angulation to that shoulder. Could he be more extended fronted, longer and elevated? Yes, he could be. Could he balance up just as good as this calf? Sure, we could pull him up a little bit in the center of his top. But when we're talking about a calf that's going to a retail market, we've got to talk about these two. And when you're talking about retail, prime, choice, select, commercial, standard, canter, cutter, that's going to be one of the steers that's going to have that higher ranking, that higher yield grade, because of the center body, the condition that he has, the amount of muscle, and what he's going to bring after they break that carcass open, and what he leaves behind. I think he's going to bring more pounds I'm messing up a couple words today. He's going to bring more pounds to the plate in terms of dollars and cents. So when we talk about these two steers, both of these steers are very great. Young man, you've done a great job showing that steer. I don't know if it's your senior year, your last year, your first year. I'm going to use you as my champion today. You will be my reserve. Congratulations to you guys. Badass steer, man. Good steer.
Sixth place, Abigail Flores.
Okay, so we had in first place Jaden Harris for this class, in second place Joshua Williams, in third place Aaron Hernandez, in fourth place Timothy Greer, in fifth place Elijah Burnett, and in sixth place Abigail Morales. We are now getting ready. We have brought in our first and second place in our lightweight class and our heavyweight class. The judge is now going to look and position himself to see. He's given some great explanations. It's not what I wanted, but they have been great explanations and justifications and rationalizations for why he chose what he chose. He's used some good livestock judging terms, but he's also made it very plain and clear for even the common person to understand. It's about the carcass. You have to touch these calves. You have to watch them move in different angles. You have to touch them. You have to feel them. You have to see how the back leg works. Four-legged animals. This L-shaped thing that is happening with the hock, that is a real thing. The hock allows four-legged animals to be able to get up and down, up and down. So it is comparable to our knee. Okay, so all of these things, the structural issues, this is where we are. Okay, so we're glad you're here, and we appreciate you for joining us today.
Again, I want to say it's been an honor and a privilege to be able to come out and judge your steer show tonight. I thank God every day that I'm able to do these types of things and give back to my community and be able to see kids that excel in these areas. It's tough for me sometimes when you're out here doing these stock shows and I don't get to see a lot of me, and I'm gonna be honest about that. I don't get to see a lot of my people, no matter what color kids they are, but I don't get to see a great cultural event like this where everybody is included in this situation. In the county where I am, there's very few Hispanics, blacks that are able to come out there and do this. And I just wish that we could see this more out there in the world where we are today, because this isn't about black and white. This is about everybody being together. And I like I like the unity that your community has here in Aldine ISD, and I think it's impressive to see these kids out here. As I select your champion, I think that the steers that we have out there are pretty much a telltale story of the types of cattle that I like and the things that I like about steers and show steers in the market today. But I think there's 2 steers out here that excel very well in terms of what I'm looking for. I wish everybody could be a champion, but obviously we have to only pick 2, and I'm going to go out and select your champion this afternoon.
No animals were harmed with the slapping. I just want to say that. No animals were harmed. That is an actual old school tradition when it comes to judging livestock, is the slapping of the steer. So Okay, people. So we have selected our top five. We have our grand and our reserve champion. We had our top five sales slots, and we had two alternates.
Reserve champion, Joshua Williams. Third place, Brashawn Oliphant. Fourth place, Robert Allen. Fifth place, Timothy Greer. Our two alternates, sixth place, Derek Leal. And seventh place, Kevin Horn.
Okay, so now we are having our showmanship. We're having our showmanship, and we have. Oh, my bad. We're having a heifer show here. I was wondering why it was hair on these cattle. It's a heifer show. So our heifers, I'm almost 100% sure that these are heifers that were caught at Houston Livestock Show in the calf scramble. How that works is a kid signs up. We hope they have the parental support. They also need the funds, and they are selected. They're randomly selected by Houston Livestock Show. They are signed up for a night. Most people go for the concert, but all of us agriculturalists, we go for the rodeo and we go to see the calf scramble. So we love to watch it. You also have the mutton busting. And so these kids got a voucher from Houston Livestock Show. They took that voucher to a breeder, and then um they traveled Texas and they found some heifers that they liked and they picked one. And these are heifers that they are showing today. And then they're going to take their heifers to Houston Livestock Show in March to see how they compared there. So the heifers are the ones who are having the little baby calves. And so we look for the same things that we do from a beef quality animal, but we also look for depth, hip width, that type of thing, because these ladies are going to be having those babies. So we're going to watch our little heifer show right here and see what our judge thinks.
I know I've kept you guys a while tonight, and I want to get everybody home safe and sound. We'll talk heifers for a minute. We'll talk about things I like to see, things that I like in quality cattle that work for me. Number one, I really like cattle that, especially at this age, that have got some bloom to them, some rib shape, some depth of body. Because when we're talking about females, we're talking about internal capacity. How can they carry a calf? What's their longevity going to look like? How do they travel? And I really like the three that we have out here. They pretty much have, even though they're three different breeds, they have some qualities about them that are very unique. I've spoken to each one of them. They said they're going to carry these to Houston, so I think that's pretty cool to be able to get out there. And this is a great set to do that with. I think for me, the things that I like about quality show heifers and commercial heifers, when we get ready to talk about turning them out into a pasture, is what are those features that they have that are going to have give them some longevity and be able to have the most amount of calves on the ground. And I think I like the fact that they've got to have some bone. They've got to have some structural ability to be able to move around and function as cows should be. But we're talking heifers right now, and we'll talk these each individually, and then we'll go out there and select your grand and reserve. I really like the young lady shorthorn. This heifer is super feminine, refined about the head and neck. I love just that femininity that she brings to the table. She's more of a younger heifer, and hopefully when she gets bred, she'll have some longevity in her. She's definitely got the right amount of side to her. She's got some bone and some qualities that we like. I love the way she puts her feet down from a structural standpoint, and she definitely balances up well. I think from hooks to pins, she could be a little leveler, but as far as a shorthorn is concerned, I think she's a great heifer and she's going to have a great future in front of her. The young man in the middle with the Beefmaster heifer, excellent heifer. She's definitely one that you'd probably see running around in my pasture. She's got that longevity. She's got the length of side, that that commercial look to her that definitely goes a long way. She's very docile in a sense. I think for me, if we could just make her just a little bit more bloomier, a little wider, I think she'll have some longevity as she moves through. She's definitely one that's super balanced from hooks to pins. I think she's got that great angulation to her shoulders. She balances up really well, and she's really true. about her design, and I really like her. I think for me, and it's just more of a thing that I have with Beefmasters, is I like to see her a little more feminine, refined, and cleaner in that brisket area, and more tighter in terms of her skin and the way she's put together. And then we rounded out over here, and again, no placings at all, but we've got this Bringus heifer here that she makes you smile. Believe it or not, I like Bringus cattle. I love Bringus cattle, and it's not going to make a difference today. But one thing that I will say about this heifer is that she's definitely got that bloomy shape to her. She's got some rib shape and some volume that you've got to have when we're talking show heifers, and really heifers that are going to be productive down the road. She's a great heifer that balances out good out of that hip. I think if I could make her perfect, I like to see her a little picked up from the front end, and that maybe would balance her out, and maybe more extended front end. She's not as feminily refined about the head and neck as these other two are. But I think one is in terms of her breed and her makeup, she's got all the right characteristics to fit the program that we're looking for. And I think when we're talking again, everybody's got a personal preference. And as I've judged a couple shows in the last 10 days, I always tell people that it's just my personal preference for the day. So don't be upset if it didn't go your way, because it's just one man's opinion. It doesn't matter. But be excited for the fact that you're here. Be excited that you've had this opportunity. And once again, before we close out for tonight, I'd like to give the parents a round of applause one more time, because without your parents, again, this would be impossible to do. And so we appreciate that, the support as ag teachers that we get from your parents. But with those things being said, and we talked some great things about all these cattle, I'm going to go out there and select your champion 2022 commercial heifer for the Aldine ISD show.
Second place, Quinaya Tubbs, and third place, Caven Horn.
We're coming in with beef showmanship. Heifers and steer exhibitors can compete for beef showmanship. The top beef showman gets a belt buckle, and reserve gets a jacket. So let's see what we can pull together here. Okay, and I can do it. I can do both. Hey, our market steer sponsor today was the Burnett family. Our market swine sponsor, class sponsor for today was Jan and Ann Sleater. Our breeding beef sponsor was Mr. Michael Johnson. So we just want to give a shout out to our sponsors. We're sorry we're a little behind on the sponsor announcements, but we definitely want to give them their round of applause for sponsoring our classes. They pay a monetary donation and they purchase the belt buckle combo, which is the belt buckle and the trophy jacket that is engraved or embroidered with the student's name on it who wins. So thank you so much to our sponsors. I hope that you get enjoyment out of sponsoring these classes. Thank you so much. Okay, everybody, while we're waiting, I meant to do this earlier, but we had a little chaos, and I will definitely interview the steer person, the steer grand champion tomorrow. But with me, I have our pig grand champion, Miss Caitlin Lincoln. Say hi.
Hi everyone.
She was a little nervous. She was just a little nervous, so I gave her a pre prep before we got on. So, what grade?
I'm a freshman at Eisenhower.
Freshman.
Like nine.
Ike nine. Swoop, swoop.
Yes.
Okay, I used to teach at Eisenhower. Okay, so you won grand champion. You did. Okay, what made you want to get a pig?
Um, I can say I been had a pig. I had a pig that stayed in my house actually. We had it as a pet and then my boyfriend influenced me to get a pig.
Your boyfriend. Wasn't that a smart relationship? Awesome. Okay, so you think you're gonna get another speech, or you're gonna stick with
I can say I am gonna get another pig for my sophomore year and my junior year I plan on getting a steer. Yeah.
Okay, hold on 1 minute.
Ever had in my teaching career as far as working with students was over down the street at Klein Forest ISD. I was never so appreciated the way I was over there as far as my ability to work with kids and be able to expand knowledge and just really give back my true abilities and give back to kids the way I was since I've left over there at Klein ISD. And I had a great experience, but this kind of reminds me of home a little bit because we had the Klein ISD show, and it just brings back a lot of memories of all these things that I miss about school district shows and just the camaraderie in general between the schools. Um, as we talk about showmanship a little bit, I want to try to explain some things so that people know where I'm coming from and what I'm looking for. I like students to have poise in the ring. I talked to a young man the other day at not the Aldine show, but the Sheldon show, and I was explaining to him that I like poise in kids. I like kids that take their time. They're not overdoing it, but they're just right. I like kids who hold their show sticks correctly, which means at the top, and continually stroking those calves and just keeping them as calm as humanly possible. One thing that my father always taught me, especially when you show cattle in big arenas, is you always want to give yourself some room in case somebody's calf moves or jumps. You always want to pay attention to the space that you're in and have your calf in position at all times. I know it's hard when you got friends and family out there watching you and trying to, give you tidbits and those types of things, but just being able to have that poise with your animal, that ease, and knowing those things that are going on. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to separate them a little bit, and then we're going to try to collectively place our top half and our bottom half, which is all the top half, and then we'll go and select the champion from there. But those are some things that I'll look for. Again, always make sure that your feet are always in the correct position. When you're showing slick cattle, always make sure you have a towel in your back pocket so you can wipe that calf down. Uh, Make sure that you've got your calf in the right position as far as feet and legs. Make sure that that head is up in the right position, and we'll go from there. But those are just some things I look for. I hope we can make some changes, and I'm going to go out here and we'll sort them top half and bottom half. Thank you.
Okay. So we're back with our grand champion pig exhibitor, Miss Caitlin Lincoln. So we're going to finish this up before we get done with the steer show. So you decided that you wanted to get a pig. You're going to get another pig, and then your junior year, you want to get a steer. Okay. So tell me a little more about yourself. How did you get interested in raising animals besides the boyfriend? And you had the pig at home, but like on this scale.
I can say I was always growing up around animals. So when I found out about it, I was like, it's really not a lot of kids our color that actually motivated to do this or know about it. So okay, that's why I did it. Just
Okay. So what are some of your other goals for being an FFA? You want to get active more than livestock? Like what do you see yourself doing besides just livestock?
I mean, I'm just a freshman, so I'll think about that next year.
Well, I'm just there are tons of things to do.
Yeah, it is.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
still learning.
You're
So
still
I'm trying
learning.
to find out more stuff. That's what's going on. I know it's a lot of things that's out here that I can do. I'll talk about that with Miss E. But yeah, I plan on doing more things. But right now, this is the start. This is the start.
What's a great start? How many people as a freshman win grand champion hall? So how many hours you think you put in every day?
I'm at the born a lot, so
Excellent skin. You've done
a lot.
everything right with that calf. I want you to hold that
How
show
many?
stick
How
a little
many? What is
easier
it?
sometimes. You got to get
21.
up
How
underneath that
many?
show stick and
I
hold
can't
it
even get my
correctly, and
rap
I think
songs
you'll be in good shape.
together.
You've also got a
Okay.
good steer and done a great job
Yes. How
today.
many hours
A
I spent
couple
at that
times
one?
when
A
you were in
lot.
the show, you kind of stopped like
I'm
scratching
young.
them when I would
Thanks.
handle them.
Okay. Well, I have
Don't
really
stop scratching
enjoyed
the
this.
steer
I
because
hope
that's
to
what
see you
keeps
for
them
years to
calm.
come.
Do it in the front of his
And
brisket though. that
We're
because you're a
excited.
taller
I'm
young
sure they're gonna
man and
come
you
by and
kind of
take your
take
picture
away from that
tomorrow with your
steer.
steer.
He's a lot prettier
So
when you move
be
up to the
fresh.
front.
Pick.
Young lady, you've done an
Dog it.
excellent job as
Sorry,
well. I've
pig. I'm
had 2
sorry. They're gonna
opportunities
come
to see
by and
you in
take
the
your
last
picture
10
with your
days.
pig.
You've done
They
great with your
probably
hair,
tweeted you out
skin,
already.
especially with the
So we're
shorthorn. You've
glad
got
that
a
you're
lot of
here and
bloom
that you're
to her
representing your
in terms
chapter
of her
in our
hair
school
growth.
district.
Continue doing what you're doing. I hope the
Bye, you
blessings come your way.
guys.
I've seen this young man
Thank you,
just last
everyone.
week as well
I
at
am
Mr.
in the
Jones's.
bottom
So
half of the day.
you're
I
an
know this is
excellent
the split
showman.
show, but that was
I
for
don't
the
know who your
pig
eye teacher is or who's
grand
helping you,
champion
but
who is
let's give them some
Caitlin
kudos,
Lincoln.
especially
All
with your
right.
parents,
Bye
because
bye.
they've done a great job with you guys. I'd love to have you on my show team any day of the week to go anywhere across the state of Texas and show. You've also done a good job. I know it's your senior year, so you got a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. I need you to just have that poise and stay calm. Even when he's not working with you, keep that poise. Young man, you remind me of myself. I enjoy watching you. I enjoy how you get that calf set up. You've always got that ease of mind. Everything is with poise. He's always in the right position. You spent some time with that calf and y'all got a relationship. I love your steer. I love the way you keep them set up, your seriousness, your authority with that calf. You've worked with them. All of you guys have done a great job with these calves, but I'm only able today to give away 1 buckle today. I wish all of you could have a buckle because y'all have done a good job. Thank you for the opportunity to allow me to come and do something that my dad's always done here. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to drive over here and just see what great environment you guys have in Aldine ISD. As I make my way home, I say blessings and prayers to each and every one of you on your endeavors moving through the future. And may you always keep FFA close to your heart. Thank you.
Alexandria Deming. She is here in the ring. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you for your showmanship, sponsorship.
Well, I'm going to wrap it up like Andra said. But I'm going to do something because if you chose me to be your judge, I'm going to do this my way. Okay. You are going to be reserve champion. And we're going to let them pay for all of y'all's jackets because y'all deserve that today. And Miss Andra said she was going to catch 1 jacket for y'all. She was going to sponsor a jacket. Thank y'all very much for having me. The 3 of y'all seniors, you deserve it. Keep moving, keep trucking, keep it alive. Let's go.
Somebody is delusional. We'll make it happen. Whatever. Don't come over here changing rules. Thank you, everyone who have come out tonight. This concludes our show for today. You have 30 minutes to exit the building. Feed and water,